Today we're going to be talking about histograms and dot plots. So histograms are similar to a bar chart except there's no space in between those intervals. And the intervals are on the x-axis and frequency is always on the right or the y-axis. And then for the dot plot, that's going to show each item of numerical data above the line. So it makes it easy to see gaps, clusters of data, and the spread of the data or the range. It's used with qualitative data or with quantitative data that is close together, and each interval is typically a single value category. Okay, we also have two different types of, I guess we'll say three different types of distributions. So we could have symmetric or approximately symmetric in real world. For something to be 100% symmetric is rare. Could it happen? Yeah, but it doesn't happen very often. The other type that we could have are skewed right or skewed left. And when we talk about those, you're talking about where the tail is. So it's skewed right because the tail of the information is over to the right, or it's skewed left because the tail of information is over on the left. All right. So let's work on making a histogram first. So we've looked at this table here. All right, this is how many hours of TV do you watch per week, and we've lumped them into categories based on 2-hour chunks from 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and it's going to keep going. And then frequency means that there were 3 people that were in this time frame, 7 people that were 6 to 8 hours, and so forth and so on. Okay, so it says 0 to 2 represents all values greater than or equal to 0 and less than 2. So if you watched 2 hours, you would actually be in this category here. Okay, so now we're going to make a histogram based on that information. And so I went ahead and set up our histogram space here. We already have no spaces between the bars. The frequency table gave us these intervals here. All right, instead of saying number of people here, you could have also just said frequency. So for 0 to 2, it was 3. So we're going to draw a bar up to 3. You can choose to shade it in if you want. You don't have to. From 2 to 4 was 6. 4 to 6 was 4 people. 6 to 8 was 7. 3 people for the 8 to 10 category. 2 people for 10 to 12, and then 1 for 12 to 14. And again, that data just came straight from this table, those numbers, okay? So now that we have that, we're going to describe the shape of this data. So if you're looking at this, it kind of goes up, and then it goes down pretty quick here. So this I would not say, because of this, I wouldn't say is approximately symmetric. The tail of this is more so to the right. So I'm going to say skewed right for this. Okay. All right. The next thing that we're going to work on is making a dot plot. Okay. And so students from River City High were randomly selected and asked, how many pets do you currently own? And their results are here. Okay, and we're going to make a dot plot. So these are dots that are going to be above the line for these things. So for 0, we're counting that there were 4 zeros. So we're putting 4 dots above the line. Okay, for 1, there were 10. So 1 is going to be halfway in between 0 and 2. So we have 10 dots there. 2, we have 4. 3, we have 2. 4, there's only 1. 2 people had 5 pets. 2 people had 6 pets. 1 had 7. 1 had 8. 1 had 9. 1 had 10. Nobody had 11 pets. And somebody has 12 pets. All right, so there is your dot plot. Then we're going to use that data to answer the following questions. So how many people own 8 or more pets? So we're just looking, you can either look, and it said, how did you find your answer? So we're either looking in the table and counting 1, 2, 3, 4 people, or you're looking in the dot plot and counting 1, 2, 3, 4 dots that are from 8 and higher. Okay, which measure of central tendency best represents that data? So this goes back to what we've been talking about the past few days. So there's the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. So the mean, if you calculate it out, you add all of these different things. There were 30 people that were surveyed. If you calculate all of that out, we get 3.2, approximately 3.2 pets. I spelled median as wrong as well there. Okay, so median is the middle number, and they're already in order. And so if you were to cross them off from left to right in the table here, you would get to these 2's that are in the middle, and the middle between 2 and 2 is just 2, so our median is 2. Our mode is 1 because that had the most common answer, and then our range is going to be 12. So which one of these do you think best represents the data? Most of our people had 1 or 2 pets, so I would say either the median or the mode. Okay, most of the people had 1. The median, though, we did have some higher ones up here that are outliers that kind of bring it up. So one of those 2 would be fine. Does the graph represent a symmetrical or a skewed distribution? So this one, we're looking, there's that tail, it's far off, so we're going to say this would be skewed right. Okay. If the town of River City allowed each household to have 4 pets before being fined, how many households would be fined? So we're looking for the ones that are above 4. You're allowed to have 4 pets. You're not allowed to have more than that. So you can either count the dots here or here in the table that are up there. And so there are 9 households that would be fined. Using your answer from part D, if the city charges $50 for every household that has more than 4 pets, how much does the city make? So we would take 9 times that $50. So they would make $450 for this particular city based on those fines. Okay. All right, let's look at another one here where we're going to investigate and kind of analyze some data. So the height of 20 basketball players in inches are given below. And so we have this information. Okay. And so we're going to make our dot plot. I went ahead and started with 68 and counted by 2's up to 86. You can choose to count by however much you want. These numbers weren't too far apart from each other, so it was something that I felt like counting by 2's was fine. So you can make that determination. So there's 1 at 68, 3 at 70, 2 at 71, 4 at 75, 1 at 77, 4 at 80, 1 at 81, 1 at 82, 83, 84, and 85. Okay, so there's our dot plot for this. So it asks, what is the median of this data set? So they gave us the list of these numbers in order from least to greatest. So you could do it from the list of numbers. If you don't have the list of numbers and they just give you a dot plot, we got to be able to figure out a way. So that means that you would cross off 1 from the low and 1 from the high end. And you're going to keep going until you get to the middle. In the middle of this, we would get 75 and 77, and halfway in between those is going to be 76. The range of the data means that we're going to take the highest number, which is 85, and subtract the lowest, which is 68. So there's a range of 17 inches. And then what is the approximate shape of this distribution? So we're going to say symmetrical. So it's not skewed left or skewed right because of these ones that have more, but in general, it kind of goes in a symmetrical fashion. Okay. All right. So now the next thing we're going to do is be able to analyze a histogram. Okay. We're going to analyze this histogram. So this represents the number of slices, pizza slices eaten in 1 year by 2,700 different people. Okay. So what does the x-axis represent? So that's going to be the number of pizza slices. What does the y-axis represent? So that's the number of people. Approximately how many people ate 50 slices of pizza per year? So based on this information, we know that 50 slices of pizza is somewhere in this, but we have absolutely no idea how many of those people ate 50 slices. So we're going to say can't be found. Approximately how many people ate 10 or less slices? Because it says 10 or less, we can look here. There are 50 people that qualify for that. Identify the mean number of pizza slices eaten each year. We can't figure that out either because we don't know how many this person, like these 50 people, they all could have eaten 10, they all could have eaten 0, they all could have eaten some different number from each other. So this can't be found either. Identify the interval containing the median number of pizza slices eaten per year. So there's 50, 300, we're going to call that 250, 400, 550, we'll say 450. Now these are approximate as well, but when you add all of these numbers together, you do get the 2,700 people, okay? So the median of that would be 1,350, okay? The 1,350th person would be the middle. And so if we're looking at that, if we add these together, that gets us to 1,000. So 1,350 would be somewhere in this category. So we know it's going to be somewhere in the range of 44 to 54 slices of pizza. Okay. Last question for this. Says your doctor warned you of the horrible pizza virus going around. He said that if you eat more than 77 or more slices, you'll definitely catch it. Approximately how many people will catch the pizza virus? So how many people were above the 77 slices? So we had 350 plus another 100. That means 450 people would have this virus. Okay? All right. Last thing here we're going to work on is looking at this dot plot and trying to analyze some of the information that it's asking us or giving us here. Okay. So we have the following dot plot of 60 people in Japan. And so how many people are 30 years or younger? So we would have to count those 30 and younger. And so there are 15 people. Describe the distribution. So this goes up and comes back down. So we're going to say this is approximately symmetrical. Identify the median age. So we need to find the age that is in the middle. There are 60 people. So we're looking for the 30th dot. So you could either cross off from left and right, or you could count to where the 30th dot is. And that is going to be 46 years old. Identify the range of the data. So the oldest person was 100, the youngest person is 0. So that means that they're a baby, and that means that we are at 100 for the range. And then the mode is going to be the one that has the most number of dots. So that here is this stack. From 30 to 40 though, they're counting, there's 5 dots there. That means that each one's 2. So this means that this would be 34. Okay, so there's lots of information here about histograms and dot plots, both making them and analyzing them. So make sure you're going back and looking at the different pieces if that seems a little bit overwhelming for you. And that's it.